What's up, Titan Nation? A very impromptu TNT tonight as we had some breaking news break about 2 hours ago. And we're definitely going to talk about it as y'all see on the graphic. And make sure y'all share this out because I have not shared this out to anybody. I'm doing that right now. And that is the Tennessee Titans have fired Jon Robinson. And when I got this message, I thought this was fake. I thought there's no way they're doing this now. But then as I looked and I saw reports, it is definitely true. And so we're gonna we're definitely going to talk about this. We're going to get into it. I got a special guest that wants to come on and chime in about this as well. So we're definitely going to get ready to do that. A very impromptu TNT tonight here this afternoon. So we're going to get ready to get this started in less than 60 seconds. Here we go. What's going on, Titan Nation? How's everybody doing? Welcome into a very impromptu TNT tonight here this afternoon as we got some breaking news that happened about 2 hours ago as the Tennessee Titans fired general manager Jon Robinson just 2 days after the Titans got destroyed by A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles 35-10. This coming from controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk, and she basically proved she's the queen bee, that she is running the show and no one is above her, and this came from her. And we're definitely going to talk about this in detail, the statement that was put out, the rumor that Mike Vrabel may be getting more power and things like that, and what this could mean for him going forward. So everybody, make sure y'all share this show out. I am going to be doing that as well in just a moment. And of course, we have a very special guest, and we're going to get right on into this right away because a lot of you, I saw a lot of y'all were ready even before this show got started. So let's not even waste any time and let's just get right into it. Remember, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the show, hit that subscribe button as well. Ring the bell. This is also going to be on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, and Apple Podcasts as well. And without any further ado, let's just get right on into this. And I bring in, you know him and you love him, and he's a friend of the show. And this guy is great with what he does. And we're going to definitely talk about some stuff in the SWAC, maybe to end the show as well. My guy, Mr. Ken Moore down in the H-Town. And Ken, we obviously, probably before the end of the show, going to have to touch on a little bit about a certain head coach that decided to ditch Jackson State and head to the great Mountain West part of the country and heading to the mile high parts of Colorado. And we'll never have to talk about that. But Ken, definitely welcome into the show. How are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing well. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay, Truth?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. A lot of breaking news this afternoon with the Titans. So yeah, it is a lot going on with the Tennessee Titans. It's a lot going on in the SWAC with Deion Sanders moving. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on for a Tuesday afternoon. A lot of breaking news.
I mean, you are not lying. I mean, this has probably been one of the crazier Tuesdays that has happened this year. Because I will tell everybody, I was actually asleep because this is one of my days off. I woke up for a minute, listened to A to Z Sports, and listened to a couple of shows, went back to sleep. I wake up about a little after 11, and one of my followers hit me up and said, "Have you seen this? Have you heard this?" And it was a picture of John Robinson, and it was saying that he was being fired. And I'm thinking, okay, this is fake news. This is not real. This can't be real. So I look on Bleacher Report, and that's the first thing I see. Titans fire John Robinson. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And I'm like, well, looks like I'm going to be doing a show at some point today. And I'm like, the sooner the better. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I tell you now, and as Ken is telling you, this is not fake. This is breaking news. John Robinson, no longer the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. This, of course, comes from the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, and it was indeed confirmed by Jim Wyatt that he is indeed been relieved of his duties. And here's what Amy Adams Strunk had to say in regards to this firing. She says, quote, "Since becoming controlling owner in 2015, my goal has been to raise the standard for what is expected in all facets of our organization. I believe we have made significant progress both on and off the field through investments in leadership, personnel, and new ideas. This progress includes the core of our business, the football team itself, which is regularly evaluated both by results, win and losses, and team construction, roster building. I am proud of what we have accomplished in my 8 seasons of ownership, but I believe there is more to be done and higher aspirations to be met. I want to thank John for his dedicated work to set this organization on an upward trajectory, and I wish him and his family the best." That was from Amy Adams Strunk when she broke this news that she made this decision to fire John Robinson. Ken, I'm going to start with you first, and I know we have a lot of people commenting on this. Derek, of course, with a super chat, and I appreciate it, said Beto Smartmouth press conference answers from Vrabel stops now. Right now, the way it looks, it might be more. So, Ken, what is your initial thought when you heard this news?
I mean, like like everyone else, I had to make sure that it was true first. And then, of course, the Titans came out with their statement as well to confirm everything. I was shocked. I was shocked by the timing of it. I had just posted earlier this morning about my thoughts on the Titans and the rest of the season. We're 2 weeks away from likely clinching the division title for the 3rd year in a row. We will essentially have 3 weeks off going into the playoffs, so a chance to get this team healthy going into the playoffs. And then this news broke, and my initial reaction was, wow, you know what? Amy Adams Strunk is not playing. She is not playing. She wants this team to compete for a Super Bowl championship. Despite us being in first place, she is not happy with the direction that this team is going. I think Mike Vrabel in his press conferences, without saying it, has not been happy with the team that he has had to coach this year, the team that is on the football field. I think he feels like he's coaching with one hand behind his back. And I think John Robinson is at the head of all of that. And I think the organization has said enough is enough. I think it has been reported, and I know this from covering college football, that this is the time of the year that front offices start to prepare for the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have come to the decision that Jon Robinson is not going to be that guy come January and February, then why wait? Go ahead and make the move now. The team is what it is. There's really only so much you can do going forward. They feel like they have a good structure in place with someone to step in as the interim general manager. So if Amy Adams thinks it's time to move forward, then I am in agreement and I concur with her, because I do not think Jon Robinson has done a good job. And this past Sunday, seeing what A.J. Brown did to us on the field, and for him, in my opinion, to have the audacity to be on the field yucking it up with A.J. Brown before the game, you did not read the room, Jon Robinson. That was not the time nor the place for you to be on the field yucking it up, smiling and laughing with A.J. Brown on the field, and then him to go out and destroy us on the field during the game. I thought that was just horrible optics by him. He should have stayed up in the press box, stay up in your suite, let whatever happens on the field happen on the field. So I think all of those things came into play, and it was time for him to go.
Yeah, and I think the A.J. Brown trade and what he did to us on Sunday definitely was the nail in the coffin. I said this, and I said this on a couple of shows yesterday, and the hosts were cracking up. Blaine and Mickey, Stillman and company, they were cracking up with what I had to say. I basically said when AJ scored that touchdown, went to that goal post, it was basically like what a parent does to their child when they do something wrong or they messed up. He took Jon Robinson to the woodshed, got a leather strap, and he started whooping that tail. He started whooping him. And I even said it like, and Ken, you being a father, I think you might be able to agree with me on this. A parent telling a child, look, this hurts me more than it hurts you. And, it's like, I don't want to do this to you. Basically, AJ is like, I didn't want to do this to you, but you traded me. And so I gotta, he's like, I gotta whoop your tail. I gotta make you regret this decision, and I gotta punish you for what you did. And that is exactly what AJ did, but it was more than just the AJ Brown trade. That was probably the nail in the coffin. That was pretty much what did him in. It's trading for Dennis Dudley, which has been an unmitigated disaster. Robert Woods, a waste of talent right now, maybe a shell of himself, although you can get out of this contract. And we'll talk about this in a minute, the misses in the draft, and he's had quite a few misses lately. Bud Dupree has not worked out. He can't stay on the field, and when he's on the field recently, he hasn't exactly been a sack machine. And so all of this happening, garnering with the direction that this team seems to be going, it is not looking good. And so, yes, he has a 66-43 record as general manager. But I think this tells me three things that are about to happen. I think the offense is about to get a major makeover. I think they're about to get an overhaul. You got to fix the offensive line. You need more weapons on the outside. And you've got to help this offense. I think this is going to be a very offensive offseason and draft. Number two, I think Big Jeff is here to stay. Because Jon Robinson basically was like, I don't know where the money is going to come from. I don't know how we're going to I don't know where the money's going to come from. I'm like, you don't tell Jeffrey Simmons, your best defensive player, that. And a new GM is going to come in, and that's probably going to be one of his first priorities is like, Big Jeff got to stay. He's a cornerstone. And number 3, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, I don't think Mike Vrabel is as safe as people think he is. Because if they stick with Ryan Cowden after the year, I can see that. But if they go completely with a new general manager is going to want to come in and do things his way. And a new general manager is normally going to want to hire his own head coach. He ain't going to want no hand-me-down. Now, it may happen in the beginning where he says, okay, I'll stick with Vrabel, but he may go to Vrabel and say, hey, Mike, I'm willing to work with you, but you got to get rid of Todd Downing. He's got to go. And if Mike Vrabel says anything but yes, sir, Vrabel's got to go too. Because, again, I've said this many times, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. John Robinson obviously did not learn from his past mistakes, and it has doomed him. He's gone. Vrabel has a chance to learn, get rid of Todd Downing, which is crazy that John Robinson's gone before Todd Downing is. But if he doesn't understand that Todd Downing needs to go, he's going to be going out the door right with him. And I think that is something that this new GM needs to make a statement of right now. And obviously, this means Amy Adams Strunk has proven she's the queen bee of the universe. She in control. She shows she got balls. This is a major move and a major statement made by Amy Adams Strunk. And I absolutely applaud her for it. Now, he's still going to get paid for the next 4 years because he just signed an extension in February, and it would have carried him through the 2027 season. So now, the rumors are out that Vrabel may be getting more power. And Ken, I'm going to get your thoughts on this, and I'm going to get to the comments in just a minute, y'all. I think that would be a massive mistake. We have seen what happened. You being in Texas, Ken, you saw how that happened with Bill O'Brien having too much power. It burned him. Bill Belichick, he ain't so great running the team when Tom Brady's not there. So I think if you're giving a coach way too much power, I think that could blow up in your face. So I would think if you give that Vrabel that much power, I don't think that's a good idea. Ken, your thoughts on that part with Vrabel maybe getting too much power?
My thoughts on Vrabel getting more power, I personally don't have a problem with it. Now, do I want to see him be the coach and GM? Absolutely not. There's just too much. I mean, there's too many blown instances of that not working. Do I think he should have a hand in who the GM is? I think he should, because the coach and the general manager need to have the ability to work lockstep to know what do you want as a football coach? What's going to make you do your job better? What ingredients can I provide to my cook to make this dish come out as excellent as it can if you're going to a 5-star restaurant? You don't want your cook and your waiter and the ingredient buyer to all be on different pages. So I don't have a problem personally with Vrabel getting more power, but it can't be ultimate power where he's the GM and the head coach.
Absolutely. Now, I want to get to this comment from Sin City Titan, and I'm going to get to other comments in just a minute. He said, how can you talk so much trash about Vrabel and J-Rob? Did you forget how bad we were before they came in? Let me make this point perfectly clear. I never once said that John Robinson did a horrible job. I think John Robinson, in a lot of aspects, has done a very good job. He helped change the culture. He helped bring us out of the gutter. I agree with that. But, you know, Austin on A to Z Sports and some others have said this. It is very easy for a general manager and a coach to bring a team that was maybe 2-15 or 3-14 and get them up to 9-8 or 10-7. It's very easy to do that. It is very difficult to then come into a situation where you already have a team that is 10-7. And I think I lost Ken for a second. He'll probably be coming back in just a moment. But it is very difficult to go then from 10-7 to all of a sudden 13-4, or to get from 10-7 to 12-5, or to get from 11-6 to 13-4. It is very difficult to do that. It is easy to go from 3 to 9 or 10 wins. Very hard to go from 10 to 12 to 13 and keep that going completely. Again, I am not making an excuse. I am not making an excuse, but I am just saying that is a very difficult thing to do and keep it sustained. Now, we are seeing that with Kansas City. You're seeing that with Buffalo. They are sustaining that, but you got to make smart moves along the way. And Stan comes and says, I don't think he wants all the power. I just think he wants more say on what players he wants and needs for this team to get to the ship. And again, I understand it's not that easy. I get it. Titans Rossi, what's up? And I get it, Sin City. It is not that easy. I understand that. And people are going to disagree with me. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what this conversation is about. John Robinson has done a very nice job. But at the end of the day, you got to sustain. You can't just be going in saying, you know what, we're just going to try to win the AFC South and that's fine. No, it's not. Because, yes, John Robinson has done a nice job, but he has made some bad draft picks as well recently. And I got Ken back in. And now C-Style, who hit me up first, said heard that J-Rob and Vrabel got into an altercation this morning. And John Robinson said to Amy, you either choose me, you know, it's either me or him. And that was the choice. Now, I don't know how true that is, but, I mean, it could very well be that could be the case that, you know what, Vrabel is like, you know, John Robinson is like, look, I'm in control. Vrabel can't do all of this. I mean, that could be very well what happened. But, Kent says it's a step in the right direction. I knew Kent was very happy with this move. But, I mean, I think this says, you know, we're being at a crossroads, and this is part of it. I agree that this team, the way it's currently constructed, is not good enough. Amy Adams-Strunk is basically saying winning the division is not good enough anymore. We can't just be trying to win a division. We want to win championships. We want to win Super Bowls. And, you know, the A.J. Brown trade, yeah, Vrabel was ticked off about that, as many of us were. So, and I'm going to pull up something else for you. Here's another reason why John Robinson got fired. Not just because of some of the bad moves he's made, not fixing the offensive line, not adequately replacing receivers, you know, and things like that. Take a look at the draft picks that he has had over the last few years. And I'm pulling this up. So you see on here, we're going to go all the way back to when he first was the head coach, meaning the general manager. Look at this 2016 draft class. You got Jack Conklin, didn't make it to a second deal. Kevin Dodd was a bust. Derrick Henry and Kevin Byard are the only ones left from that draft class still on this team. 2017, Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Taywan Taylor, Jonnu Smith, with the exception of Corey Levin, who actually left and came back. None of those guys are still on the team right now except for Corey Levin. 2018, Rashaan Evans, Dane Cruikshank, gone. Cruikshank being gone might have been a mistake. And they wasted Luke Falk. 2019, AJ is gone by trade. DeAndre Walker's already gone. You got decisions to make with Nate Davis and David Long. You're acting like you don't know if you're going to be able to pay Big Jeff. The 2020 draft was an unmitigated disaster with really only Christian Fulton making substantial contribution. 2021 is looking really bad. I mean, you got Monty Rice, Elijah Molden, Rashad Weaver, but nobody else has made any contribution. And right now, this year is still kind of up in the air. But you notice out of all of those draft picks, none of his first round picks have made it to a second deal. Now, Big Jeff will probably be the first, but none of his first round draft picks have made it to a second contract. And I understand some people are talking about we're winning. It ain't all about that. Just winning the AFC South again, ladies and gentlemen, is not good enough anymore. Get that through your heads. We're about to win 3 straight, and we're probably going to take an early exit for the 3rd straight year. What do y'all want? Just to be AFC South Division champs, or do you want a Super Bowl? That is the question you need to ask yourself. Ken, jump on in here.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. You know, I have to think back being at Houston, and I would be hypocritical if I wasn't as critical of the Titans as I have been of the Houston Texans. When the Texans had their run with J.J. Watt and Matt Schaub and Adrian Foster and J.J. Watt, and they would consistently win the AFC South, right? But then they would always get to the first round of the playoffs and always get embarrassed. And I was always hypocritical of the organization because they did not take the next steps to become a championship organization. They always tried to cut corners and try to win on the cheap. Same thing I've seen with the Titans over the past 3 years when you go down this draft list. There was no reason on earth that Jack Conklin, at the time, an all-pro right tackle, bookend with Taylor Lewan, should not have been re-signed in 2020. There was no reason at all not to re-sign him. And you backdoor that with a bad draft pick in Isaiah Wilson, and then another bad draft pick in Dylan Redunce. You finally seemingly may have it right now with Petit Fair, but that's 3 offensive tackles that you've had to draft since Jack Conklin was not re-signed. That's draft capital that could have been used in other areas of the football team if you would have signed Jack Conklin. Okay. Yep. Now you go to the next year, Adoree Jackson, Corey Davis. Okay, Adoree had injury problems, no problems letting him go. I really didn't have a problem in letting Corey Davis go based on the money that he got, but you could have given him his 5th-year option, played it out 1 more year, or you could have replaced him with a quality wide receiver. John Robinson did neither. You went and got Julio Jones. Yeah, we were all excited about Julio Jones, but guess what? We're not general managers. We're not in the know. You should have known more about Julio Jones than us as fans and reporters knew about Julio Jones. So that was a miss. Now, also, you go to the next year, Rashad Evans, Harold Landry. Both of those guys were solid. I'm not saying either one should have been brought back. You did a very good job with David Long. You brought in Zach Cunningham, who I was excited about at the time. Unfortunately, he's been injured most of this year. So that hasn't worked out at the linebacker position. Now you go to the next year. You have a great draft. Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, David Long. All those guys hit. 5 of the 6 draft picks you hit. Excellent draft. No problem there. Why didn't you sign Jeffrey Simmons last year when you had the opportunity to sign him for less money? You could have signed him for less money than it's going to take the new general manager to sign him for next year. So that's a problem that Amy Adams saw. Okay, you could have had Simmons under contract already, but now we're going to probably have to pay him $25, $26, $27 million a year next year. Okay?
Let me break it right there. Let me break it right there. I don't mean to cut you off. You just hit the nail on the head. And I think this is something we discussed back in the summer, and I think we discussed it with Upload and some other people as well off cam. They made a big mistake not signing Big Jeff this past offseason when we saw what happened with Aaron Donald getting the money that he got. Because we've all said it, with each game, Big Jeff is getting that more expensive. He is getting more expensive by each and every game. And now, instead of maybe paying Big Jeff 20, 21, 22, 23, now you're probably, like you said, we're going to have to pay 26, 27, 28 to just hold on to him. And so that's a big mistake. A.J. Brown, and I say this before and I say it again. Proof is in the pudding. The Titans gave up on A.J. Brown. Plain and simple, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. A.J. basically proved and said, I wanted to retire Titan. I wanted to be there. I just wanted what I was worth. And the Titans tried to lowball him. They tried to screw him. And that's why he got traded. And John Robinson didn't have to trade him. And he did anyway. So that came back to bite him. And so now the one thing I do disagree a little bit is Jack Conklin. In a way, yes, he should have been re-signed. True. But Jack Conklin was dealing with some injury issues as well. And so I think he had, 2 straight years he dealt with some injuries. I know he missed 1 year where he tore his ACL in the playoff game, and he really was never the same after that. But I think they maybe should have given him a 5th-year option and maybe saw, okay, let's see if he could do it this last year. So I think that might have been where the mistake was. And really, the way they did it with Adoree', they could have gotten out of that 5th-year option if they wanted to. Kind of like how they did with Adoree'. They gave Adoree' the 5th-year option, but was able to get out of it. And so, I mean, so, and again, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm going to let you finish your point. But I just want to make that point of Big Jeff that he's going to cost a lot more now. And he's going to have a lot of leverage.
Yep. And then you go to the 21 draft. Caleb Farley. Disaster. Dylan Redunce. Question mark at best, right? You draft him as a tackle, now he's playing guard. Monty Rice hasn't been able to stay on the field, still has potential. Elijah Molden hasn't been able to stay on the field, showing potential. Dez Fitzpatrick. 4th-round pick, right? Yep. Now, you talked about it. You follow the draft a lot more than I do. They drafted Dez Fitzpatrick above St. Brown, who's turning into an all-pro type receiver with the Detroit Lions. But that's not even my biggest issue. Right now, this past week against Philly, you only dress 3 wide receivers. NWI, Robert Woods, and Treylon Burks, and you have Board, who's really just a kick return.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Dez Fitzpatrick and Mason Kinsey still on the team if they can't be elevated to get into a game when you don't have any eligible wide receivers other than 3.
Exactly.
If Mason Kinsey and Dez Fitzpatrick are so bad that they cannot get into a football game and play 10 to 15 plays, why are they still on your practice squad?
Yep.
There's no reason for that. You're bringing in Josh Gordons and Chris Conleys and all these guys that can't get on the field, and you got 2 guys that's been in your system for over 2 years, and you can't put them into a game when you really don't have any other options. Why are they there? Get rid of them if they can't play. Go find somebody else. I'm sure there's some other wide receivers on some practice squads that you can bring over to participate in a game. That makes absolutely 0 sense. And for that, and other than any other reason for me, I am glad Jon Robinson is out of here, because that is absolutely mismanagement of a roster and absolutely ridiculous.
I definitely agree. I mean, you know, again, that does say a lot. It's like, daggone, Mason Kinsey and Dez Fitzpatrick that bad that in this situation you can't even bring them up. And then the Dillon Radunz situation, which I've clamored. I'm like, Dillon Radunz is a natural left tackle. Put him at that spot and let's see what happens. He can't be worse than Dennis Dudley. I mean, Dennis Dudley is probably the worst offensive lineman in the NFL. And the fact that, and this is why I say I don't think Vrabel is safe, because not pulling Dillon Radunz in and not bringing those guys up, that is a Vrabel decision, not a Jon Robinson decision. Vrabel is choosing not to bring those guys up. And so I'm like, at least try Dillon Radunz at left tackle. You'll never know what you got in him until you try. And now you're talking about possibly LaRaven Clark, and I haven't really seen his snaps, but I've heard it wasn't good and hasn't been good. So I'm like, what do you have to lose? You're going to draft a left tackle in the draft next year anyway. So you might as well see what you got with Dillon Radunz. I don't know what we're seeing and what the media is seeing from that game against the 49ers, because obviously we're watching 2 different ball games. A lot of people in the media have just been like, Dillon Radunz wasn't that good in the 49er game. And I keep thinking, what the hell are y'all watching? I'm like, this guy maybe wasn't great, but he held his own against one of the best pass rushers in the league in Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa that year had, what, 15, 16 and a half sacks? How many sacks did he have in that game with Dillon Radunz on him? None. 0. Zilch. It was so bad, Nick Bosa ended up having to move to the other side to go up against David Quesenberry because he was having no success against Radunz. So I don't know what the media is seeing that we're not, and yet nobody has been able to explain to me what that was. And I see Philip brings in a super chat. I appreciate this. Jon Robinson being fired is valid because if Miss Amy believes J-Rob was the reason why Vrabel's game strategy is so predictable and ineffective against good teams, then she was hoodwinked to the highest level. Maybe, because obviously, you know, I think it is valid. Because again, Amy Adams is showing she wants to win. She wants to win and is tired of the mediocrity. She doesn't want to just win divisions. She wants to win a Super Bowl. And obviously, Ken, you're getting a lot of love for GM. And, you know, and so people are talking about, we didn't mention the 2020 class. Yes, we did. Nobody has contributed except Christian Fulton right now. And AJ abused him on back-to-back plays. Now, not saying that Christian Fulton is not a good corner. Yes, he is. But AJ is just that better of a receiver, which was why they should have kept him. I kept saying it all year last year. Pay that man. Ken, did I not say that? Yep. You can validate that for me. You know me pretty well. Did I not say sometime during the year, pay that man?
Yes,
Tell me
sir.
I'm lying.
Yes, sir. 1,000.
I've been saying it. I don't want nobody to say, well, you just saying that now after all this happened. No. I said this even before the playoff game last year that they should have paid him. And they didn't. So John Robinson failed at his job and deserved to be fired. Now, I am a little questioned about the timing, but I do get it. Like you said earlier, front off, this is usually where you get the jump on the draft, or you get the jump on getting the best possible candidates because, like you said, now this month with bowl games coming up, this is where you can actually go and meet and talk to some players, go to bowl games, watch them play if some of them play, and you can really get your hands on these guys and get a jump on it. Now the Titans have a chance to do that. So, now we're entering a whole new era now. And so we are at a crossroads. And again, the question is Vrabel going to be a part of the solution, or is he going to be part of the cleaning out process? And so that's what we're about to find out. And, if Vrabel has that power, I don't know if it's a good idea, folks. I was just as shocked as everybody else was. I mean, I think it's a good move, but I was shocked by it. So we're going to find out what this team is all about, especially within these next, let's see, we're 7-5. So we got literally 5 games to go. The Tennessee Titans do have a chance to clinch the AFC South this week, I believe with a victory over the Jags and a Colts loss.
The following week. Colts have a bye week this week. So if we beat the Jags this week and then the Colts play the Vikings in week 15, they'll likely lose that game. We'll be division champs. And this was what I put on Facebook this morning before all of this broke. The good news for the Titans going forward is that, let's take a step back to last year. We beat every playoff team that we faced. The Rams, the Bills, every playoff team that we faced, we beat except Cincinnati. We went into the playoffs relatively healthy. We had just got Derrick Henry back. And, of course, we know what happened in the playoff game. Tannehill wet the bed. This year, it's been the opposite. We've lost to every playoff team that we've played. However, we did play tight with Kansas City with Malik Willis. We did play tight with Kansas City with Cincinnati 2 weeks ago. Assuming we clinch in week 15, which will probably be the first team in the AFC to clinch, every other will be pretty much locked into the 4 spot. Yeah. Every other team will be playing hard the rest of the season to either try to get the number 1 seed, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, or try to get into the playoffs, the Jets and Miami and New England and all of those teams. So the Titans will actually be in a really good spot where over the final 3 weeks of the season, they can actually rest players who need to get healthy. You can sit Jeffrey Simmons down for a couple of weeks, let him get his ankle ready. You can sit Christian Fulton down for a couple of weeks, let him get his hamstring ready. Let Danico Autry get another couple of weeks to heal his injury. Let those guys, if Kevin Byard needs a break, you can give him a break. If Derrick Henry needs a break, you can give him a couple of weeks off. Don't worry about rushing titles and all that kind of stuff. So you can actually go into the playoffs as the healthiest team in the AFC. You get a home game right off the bat. That home game will likely be against a Miami or a Baltimore. That's your likely opponent in the first round. I think you can beat Miami, but the Ravens are a very overrated team. Lamar Jackson is hurt now. Their defense is horrible. I think you can win a first-round game at home, and then you let the chips fall where they may after that. So I think the probability of the Titans being successful in the playoffs, if Burks can come back, you get the offensive line somewhat healthy, you get the defense somewhat healthy, you have an opportunity to do some damage. So it's not all bleak. It's not glass is half empty, in my opinion. I think the glass is half full. And I think Amy Adams sent the message today that, hey, we're not going to stay status quo. We're going to try to get better. We're going to try to compete. And we're going to try to put this organization in the best opportunity that it has.
And before, we end all of this, as a lot of people say, Jeremy said realistically you could see 3-2 the rest of the way. Imagine being fired between 2 division-winning seasons, 2 12-win seasons, which I don't see us winning 12. Brandon comes in with a question. I smell Bill O'Brien power move. Should I be scared? I pray to God it's not that, because I could see Vrabel being like a Bill O'Brien, because let's be all honest, Vrabel is an arrogant, cocky somebody. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks he knows everything and everybody else knows nothing. And I could definitely see this as a bad move that could blow up in his face. And I hope that is not the case with that. So, I mean, I agree with you. It is not glass half empty. Anything. It is, we definitely have a new, we're definitely going into a new era, a new phase. And I think somebody asked about draft picks. Right now, we have a first, a second, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. So we got in all, I think we have 6 picks in this draft. This new general manager, whoever they may be, might come in wanting more. So, we're definitely going into a very new age that with a new GM. So we're definitely going to find out. But before we get out of here, Ken, I wanted to ask you one other question. And Philip comes in with a super chat. I appreciate it. Said J-Rob was the one who wasn't interested in signing Tom Brady, instead to extend Tannehill. Valid point. And also, Aaron Rodgers could have been traded here too, although I wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers anywhere near my football team. But that is something there. But Ken, quickly on your neck of the woods, let's go to your battlefield in the SWAC. Deion Sanders bolts Jackson State for Colorado. He's going to Boulder Canyon. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, as many of you know, I've been covering SWAC football for the last 4 years for ESPN. So I've had a chance to do several Jackson State games. I've had a chance to interact with Coach Prime, very straight up individual. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks, and he's not going to leave any stone unturned. When news started to break late in the season that this may be a possibility, I was torn, to be quite honest. I wanted him to stay at Jackson State. I wanted to see Shedeur Sanders, his quarterback, remain there. I thought they would be there until Shedeur graduated and got a chance to go into the NFL. So I was a little bit torn both ways. And I'm still torn both ways because I understand it from Coach Prime's perspective, is that he has an opportunity to go to a Power 5 school and revamp a Colorado program that has been terrible for the better part of a decade. So I understand the opportunity there. I understand the frustration with some in our community, the Black community, that some feel like he is abandoning his initial message to bring HBCUs back to prominence. So I understand it from both angles. I'll say this after I've had a week to kind of digest all of the information, is that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, he has two primary responsibilities. First and foremost to himself, second and foremost to his family. So we can't expect an individual to turn down an opportunity to better themselves financially and to better themselves professionally. Okay. Yes. Will it be a hit to Jackson State? Yes, initially.
Massive.
Will it be a hit to the SWAC as a whole from a coverage perspective? Yes, it will. Will it be a hit to me professionally as a broadcaster who covers the SWAC? Yeah, a little bit. I may have a few less eyeballs on me in 2023 than I've had the past couple of seasons. But at the end of the day, with Coach Prime, on the positive side, he is an African-American head coach who's now getting an opportunity at a Power 5 school, which very few African-American coaches have when it comes to coaching college football. He also has an opportunity to bring along some coaches who may not necessarily get the opportunity to be assistant coaches and coordinators at that level, to have the opportunity now to do that. He also gets to bring some kids from Jackson State and some other recruits that may not have had the opportunity to go to a Power 5 school, the opportunity to experience that, and a better opportunity to get to the NFL. So I'm happy for him. I applaud him. I applaud Colorado for taking a chance on him. Colorado has hired 3 minority coaches in a row. That is unheard of at a Power 5 school, a PWI, primarily white institution. Unheard of, right? There were 4 African-American coaches fired at Power 5 schools this hiring cycle. Only 1 has been replaced by another African-American, Deion Sanders. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his kids that they're going to get to go there now. Am I sad for Jackson State? Yes. But you know what? Jackson State has the opportunity now as a prominent FCS program to go out and make another hire that can keep that program sustainable. Eddie George has an opportunity now. If he's successful at Tennessee State, he has an opportunity to possibly go to a Power 5 school and open the doors for other coaches to come into Tennessee State and be successful. Same for Hugh Jackson at Grambling. Same for Bubba McDowell at Prairie View. So these coaches now have the opportunity. Eddie Robinson Jr. at Alabama State. These coaches have the opportunity, if they're successful, to follow in Deion's footsteps.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, you know, going to a Power 5 school as an African-American head coach in a Power 5 school, I mean, you know, Mel Tucker set the standard at Michigan State. I mean, got a huge contract extension, well-deserved, at Michigan State. So now, you know, Deion is setting himself good for Colorado, which could lead to an even bigger job somewhere at some point, you know, like and I'm just spitballing out here, if it was Clemson or Oklahoma or Texas A&M or Texas, you know, hell, if something happened with Mike Norvell at Florida State, he can go back to his alma mater. So, I mean, that is something that can happen there. Yes, it is a big hit to Jackson State. It does hurt them. But I did think this, and this might be silly to think. I think one thing, and this is for me personally, I think the Southern Heritage Classic is going to be back to the way it was, because I think Jackson State, Deion was probably one of the driving forces that wanted to get out of that. Mm-hmm. Now that he's gone, I think Jackson State's going to want back in. Now, I don't know if Fred Jones and the Southern Heritage Classic or if Tennessee State even going to want them back in. But I do think that possibility of Tennessee State, Jackson State, that tradition, I think has a chance to continue now, and they can all come back to the table and make this thing happen. So we're definitely going to find out. And obviously Ryan's coming in saying AD Ashley Robinson, very well respected. Trust to get a good replacement. Brandon said, can we get Stanford's coach to be our OC? Obviously, Coach Shaw at Stanford, he's very happy where he is, because many times they've tried to pry him away, and he has said no. He is entrenched and happy at Stanford. Ken, I know you got to run. Any last thoughts or anything that you might have possibly coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if I know a lot of you guys have subscribed to the channel. I've been kind of dormant. College football is over. I'm hoping to crank the channel back up. So if you would go subscribe if you haven't already, at K Moore Sports on YouTube. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter as well at K Moore Sports. And then, of course, on Facebook, where I'm very active, Ken Moore. If you haven't friended me, send me a friend request. And of course, I will accept you. But yeah, we are going to crank the channel back up for the remainder of the football season. So hit that notification bell. I'll let you guys know when a show is coming out. I'm going to try to put something together for this week so we can talk about the playoff chances coming up. We can talk about who the Titans may be looking at as possible replacement for John Robinson. We'll hit on the SWAC. I will be having, hopefully, as we get into bowl season, some interviews with some former Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans players that are active in the SWAC. Bubba McDowell, head coach at Prairie View, former Houston Oilers. Eddie Robinson Jr., who played in the Super Bowl with the Titans, second-round pick of the Titans back in the 90s. He's the head coach at Alabama State. Of course, Hugh Jackson, who coached the Cleveland Browns. He's the head coach at Grambling. So we're looking to have some of those guys on as we progress through the bowl season and into the offseason for both college football and the NFL. So yes, we're going to be cranking the channel back up. So again, go subscribe at K Moore Sports, hit that notification bell. We're going to try to get a show up this week because we have so much stuff going on, and I got a little bit more free time now as the holidays are approaching. So definitely look forward to interacting with you guys all again.
Well, definitely. I definitely do appreciate you coming on. And Overchick said, did Vrabel hire Downing? Yeah, Vrabel decided to keep Downing. Yes, he did, because he's over the coaches. And, of course, again, if you're late or didn't get the memo, breaking news, John Robinson fired by the Tennessee Titans, replaced by interim general manager, former vice president of player personnel, Ryan Cowden, basically second in command. I know Ken has got to run, and I'm probably going to run as well. So, everybody, it's been a shocker of a day. It has. I appreciate everybody. I know we had well over 60 people in here tonight, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. We will have a show tomorrow, maybe get a little bit more into this preview, getting ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, and the Titans get one step closer to clinching a division. And I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, and everybody Philomatic says Cam Newton next head coach. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I know I didn't get to everybody's comments, and I apologize for that. Clay saying next big problem will be quarterback, and that very well might be right with that. So and 615 is right. They might force Downing force John Robinson's hands to do that. So we're definitely going to find out what this team is about in these next 5 weeks. And we will see who could be possible replacements for Jon Robinson as GM. Hopefully they do it right and get the right player in there. So everybody, I thank y'all for tuning in to TNT tonight, this impromptu version. I am your man, Blue Enforcer, aka The Truth. Again, y'all make sure y'all follow. Y'all make sure y'all follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And definitely make sure y'all follow that. And we will definitely talk again tomorrow. Y'all have a very good rest of your afternoon and tighten up, because that's all we know how to do.